We put a lot of stock in our doctors and our functional practitioners, hoping that they can heal us. But really, what we have to take a step back and understand they're not the expert on us. They rarely even know who we are.
You're listening to the What the Gut podcast, where busy moms can come for a holistic approach to health and vitality. I'm Allison, your host, a holistic health and wellness coach. In this space, we'll dive into the intricacies of achieving holistic wellness while balancing the demands of daily life as a busy mom. What the Gut is your haven for navigating the challenges that come with juggling numerous tasks while aiming for a healthier, more balanced life. Join me as we uncover practical solutions to common health hurdles, from managing fatigue to understanding all things gut health. Through insightful discussions, actionable insights, and tailored lifestyle strategies, my goal here is to empower you to embrace a vibrant, nourishing life while saying goodbye to being overwhelmed and exhausted. So if you're ready to embark on this transformative journey towards holistic well-being, hit that subscribe button. Get ready to discover the secrets to thriving in motherhood while nurturing your overall wellness. A quick reminder, everything discussed here is for educational and empowering purposes only and is not intended for personalized medical advice. Consult your personal healthcare provider for personalized medical advice. Welcome to What the Gut, where we create our own path to holistic health, one episode at a time. Today on the podcast, I'm excited to welcome Kate Lazzarotti, a national board certified health and wellness professional who's passionate about gut health, hormone balance, menopause support, and whole body detox. She's on a mission to empower others to combat chronic disease by reducing inflammation, shifting mindsets, and making sustainable lifestyle changes. Her journey from struggling with undiagnosed gut issues to healing herself has inspired her to help others truly understand their bodies and thrive. She's also a mom of two college-age kids and a big believer that food is medicine. I can't wait for you to hear her story and the incredible wisdom that she brings to the table. Kate, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm really honored to be here and I'm happy to share my story and learn more about you as well.
Yes, I am so excited. Just reading everything that you have experienced and what you do, I'm like, we have so much in common. I
Mhm.
just there's not even questions. It's just things to discuss because I'm like,
Right.
yes, I agree. I agree in all of this. So just having somebody else here to share with my listeners just the importance of gut health and like everything that encompasses that, because it's connected to everything and we could go down so many different avenues with it. But I would love for you to share your story. I know that you've got a story of like infertility and gut issues that brought you to where you are today.
Sure, of course. So, my revelations about gut health started probably about 14 years ago when I came down with undiagnosed symptoms. And I know now that the gut issues can manifest themselves in different ways. And mine happened to be this horrible stabbing pain throughout my whole body. My face was drooping on one side. I felt like I had MS. I really thought I had MS. So I had every ologist you can imagine. I went everywhere. I had every test between spinal taps, MRIs, EKGs, brain scans, you name it. I had it. And everything came back perfectly fine. You're normal.
That is so scary.
Nothing wrong with you. And my kids were really young at the time. And I was petrified. I lived for about 12 years with these symptoms, constantly going back and having my blood checked just to be told I was fine, until I came across a holistic practitioner that actually sat down and took an hour and a half with me to talk, find out everything about my life. And it right off the bat, she suspected that I had a gut disease. So we did some testing, and sure enough, I have what's called SIBO. It's small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And I had some food intolerances that I had no idea about. I went on an antibiotic. It was protocol antibiotic for on and off for 3 years. But every time I came off the antibiotic, the disease would come back. So I had enough after 3 years. I went off everything and I just really seriously started to do my research and find out what the heck is going on. Why am I sick? So
Yeah.
I allowed my body to heal itself with food that I researched would help my gut. So between whole plant-based foods and cutting out ultra processed, and then of course it's not just about the food, it's also about your lifestyle, chronic stress, right? I was sick for a lot of years. Of course I had chronic stress and that just exacerbated my symptoms.
And a mom of 2 of no matter what age they are, that's
Right.
stressful.
Right. And
Yeah.
not to mention all the other things in life that are going on. My husband needed attention, my kids needed attention, my house needed attention. I finally really figured out what worked for me. And it took me probably about 3.5 to 4 years, but I'm completely SIBO free. My gut is healthy. I have no more symptoms. And it really is just amazing to me. And what I learned through the process is that my infertility issues, so I had to have surgery in order to get pregnant, and I have severe endometriosis. And what I learned now, which I didn't know then, was that it was all gut related. Wish I had known that because then maybe I could have taken steps to prevent any further symptoms, but I'm happy that I know it now, of course.
Yes, that's amazing. And I wanna point out too, like, you finally found this holistic practitioner that took the time with you, which is absolutely amazing because we wanna be seen by somebody who's gonna actually not spend just 5 minutes with us if we're struggling with all of these things for this long. The symptoms you were experiencing, it's like in my head, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, she's having a stroke," and, like, all of the like, over and over again. That is so scary. But whenever you did see this holistic practitioner, you did finally figure out what was going on, and with SIBO, there's that bacterial overgrowth, so antibiotic is necessary to an extent, but it's also wiping out all the good bacteria too. There's so many, like, pros and cons, but then it's like, for you, though, that ultimately wasn't the only answer, and so I love how you were your own advocate and sought your own healing regimen from all of this. Like, it wasn't just the antibiotic, the provider, they couldn't give you all the answers. Like, it's not
Yeah.
ultimately, honestly, it's like not their job. Like, you have all the answers inside of you. You just need
Yeah.
to have these providers set you in the right direction and give you the right tools sometimes. But I love how it's like until you embraced as a holistic lifestyle and that food was medicine, it never really turned the switch.
No, it didn't. And that's my mission. That's why I opened KCL Wellness because I really want to help people understand what their body is asking for so they can be the advocate for their own health and make the best decisions for themselves. We put a lot of stock in our doctors and our functional practitioners, hoping that they can heal us. But really, what we have to take a step back and understand they're not the expert on us. They rarely even know we are, right? We
Exactly.
go in there, we tell them some of our symptoms, but it's like we're giving them a small synopsis of what our life is.
Mhm.
We know ourselves, we know what's going on, and journaling and keeping track of what you're eating and just making sure that your daily life doesn't have the stress in it to cause that chronic inflammation. Like you said, we can go down every avenue possible when it comes to gut health because it's related to so many different things in your life. But you really need to step back and take the time for yourself and really just understand what it is that your body is looking for. And if you really listen, it's talking to you and you can find the answers.
Yes. I'm like, yes, I
Yeah.
love all of this. I was trained in Western medicine as a nurse practitioner and then was certified in functional medicine as a nurse practitioner. And also have been on the other side though and had my own struggles for years, like you did. Obviously, different symptoms and everything, different things going on, but I've been on both sides of it. And I can tell you, like, as a provider, I tell all of my all of the patients I'd seen in clinic, like, I am here to give you the tools and, like, I might have the knowledge and education of what things are, but ultimately, you know yourself so much better than I ever will. And empowering that person to take what I say, but also do their own research and figure it out because I'm not the healer, like the Lord is ultimately, but all the answers are not going to come from me. I'm just going to be able to help use me as a tool. I'm going to guide you in the right direction, right? But I can say too, from like the patient's perspective, as somebody going through it, I was just like you. I didn't find a holistic practitioner or anything. Like I went to Western medicine. That was all I had where I live. That was all I knew of. I didn't know anything about holistic or functional medicine. And I was at such a dead end. Every test came back normal. I was living this life of just misery. I couldn't eat without feeling bad. Like every time I ate food, my stomach hurt, and I literally always thought that was normal because that had happened to me since I was a child. And then once I had my own kids, things with me got worse, and I realized my kids weren't having these problems. I was like, "Okay, why are my kids so happy and healthy whenever I was younger and had so much pain?" And it was like this light bulb moment too because, like, I became a nurse and then I'm learning all these things. I'm like, "Hold on, this isn't how my life was." But finding a holistic person to work with, I had different coaches. Not one person helped me completely, but everybody else helped me in different ways. But it wasn't until 2020 when I literally had a newborn and everything was shut down and I had the time to work on myself that things changed, and it's that had to happen, and until I took that holistic approach, I never would have changed, and I want to emphasize too, just, like, how it's such a process. Like, you struggled for so long, I struggled for so long. Like, it is such a process. People cannot expect, like, quick fixes with this because we didn't
No,
get
but
to
it
where we
doesn't
are
have to be.
overnight.
Yes, but it doesn't have to be what we went through. We figured it out because we had to. But
Yeah.
if people just understand that there are professionals like you and I out there that really can help them to circumvent a lot of that, what's going on with me? Why am I feeling this way? As professionals, we can help them get to the root cause of what's going on with their symptoms and really deal with that as opposed to, okay, you have a headache, then take a Tylenol, or,
Right.
you have a stomach ache, then take some Pepto Bismol. Let's figure out, why do you have that headache? Why do you
Right.
have that stomach ache, right? Something is going on. Your body is telling you, it's a defense mechanism, and your body is telling you that something is going on. Rather than sit in misery because you don't know, really think about it and understand why it is that you're experiencing the symptom that you are having. And so many of us don't do that. We just rely on the medication or calling the doctor or whatever. But if we really pay attention, we can understand that, oh, I have a stomach ache because I ate a lot of bread yesterday, and maybe that bread is causing me to have the stomach ache. So maybe if I
Yeah.
don't eat bread, maybe I won't have the stomach ache. And then you won't even have to take the Pepto Bismol. Right?
Yeah.
Well, that's my mindset, and I really wish that more people had that same mindset.
Yes, and you think about too the array of symptoms that you and I in combination right here have mentioned, which I'm sure there were so many other symptoms for you that you're not even mentioning right now just because of how long you struggled with this. But it's like absolutely everything is related to your gut. And so it's honestly if you're experiencing certain symptoms and you are or ultimately like if you feel weird, if you feel bad, if something's going on in your body and you have sought help for it, or you're just attributing it to getting older or
Right,
something.
right.
That's rarely okay to just accept. Listen to your body, figure out what's going on because it's ultimately if you're not listening to your body, it's gonna end up in this full-blown situation where people call it autoimmune disease now, where your body's attacking itself. It's like your body's actually screaming for help.
Friends. And it's really true, and every single day there's new research that comes out. Thank God there's people researching these things, but there's new research that comes out that's linking, gut health with Alzheimer's and ADHD and autism.
Yep.
Of course, autoimmune disease is the number one, and people aren't making that connection. So,
Right.
yes, it has to do with genetics. Yes, it has to do with the food that you eat. Of course, when you really dig down deep, they're recognizing, let's just say autism, because of course, autism went off the charts in the last few years. So, why is that? Well, they're discovering that there are children that have autism that are missing a certain gut bacteria that other children who don't have autism have. So they're making that link. And it's the same thing all the way down the line with Alzheimer's and autoimmune diseases and stuff like that. So the more we can educate people about how gut health can then turn to chronic inflammation. If we don't pay attention to it, then it turns into chronic disease. And then that chronic disease, once it crosses the blood brain that barrier, that inflammation, then you're talking about cognitive function impairment. So it's just one thing after the other. And we really have to start to pay attention to it. And I wish more people would talk about it.
On that note, I would love to dive more into the gut brain connection. And I want to say too, like, I know the research. I hear everything you're saying. I've heard the research. I love it. I agree with it. But like, I've experienced it too. When I was in college, I had severe like brain fog. And even like in high school, when I think about it, it's like I always had severe brain fog and could not concentrate. I was not a straight A student. Like, it was hard. It was so hard for me. And I went to my doctor and I was told I had ADD. I had all the testing done. You actually, nowadays, I think sometimes it just gets prescribed, but I had to take this test on focus and all this stuff. And it was, oh my goodness, it was so hard. And once I started working on my gut health, not
Mhm.
for reasons having to do with how I was thinking cognitively, I didn't even put the 2 and 2 together, but once I started working on my gut health, it was like I was putting glasses on for the first time. I could think so much more clearly, and as a mom at this point, I had 3 kids. I was like, "Oh my goodness, like, how much have I been missing out on?" And it gives me
You're
goosebumps
wrong.
right now because I had no idea, like, how I just wasn't thinking clearly, and I wasn't giving myself the full potential to apply myself, like, at home or at my job. This was, like, when I was a nurse, and nursing school was so hard for me. I had to
Right.
have all the
You were a
extended
nurse.
test-taking time.
And you still weren't aware of the stuff that was going on with you, right?
Yes.
That's what blows my mind. That's why, honestly, we have to understand our bodies and gut health. And you mentioned the gut brain connection. So our gut and our brain are connected through the vagus nerve. I know all of this, but
But I love it. Keep telling everybody. I love it.
sure. Our gut is referred to as our second brain because it has as many neurons as our brain does. And it communicates with our body in the same way that our brain does. So all of those neurons that are in our gut are going out to the different cells in our body, telling it what to do. So if your gut's not healthy, and don't forget, what is it? 80% of our immune system lives in our gut, as well
Yep.
as percent of our serotonin, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So if your gut's not healthy, your immune system's not healthy because it lives in your gut. So it's reacting to however your gut balance is telling it to act, so to speak. Right.
Yes.
So then what happens there is when your gut's not healthy and it creates that chronic inflammation that we were talking about, then you're not addressing it because maybe you don't know. Maybe you have a food intolerance that you're not aware of, and you're eating the food that's causing the inflammation, right? So then that inflammation then leads to that chronic disease, however it is that the cells in your body read it. So it's going to turn into chronic disease. And then if that continues, it can cross the blood brain barrier and then end up with that inflammation in your brain. So
Yeah.
there's so many things to address. And I'm not a doctor and I don't pretend to be, but I know that I can help people to understand what's going on, get tested, there's so many tests out there today. Get tested, get your results back, and let's work on whatever it is that your test results are showing. So if it's coming back showing that you are, let's say, intolerant to gluten, let's work on a plan to get you off gluten and then let's see how you feel, right? Don't start going on all kinds of medications. And a lot of people with gut issues tend to have acid reflux. And then what is the protocol for
Yeah.
aflux
Yeah.
is, okay, let's take some antacid. That's the worst thing
Uh,
you do for yourself because once you reduce the acid in your stomach, that your body needs to digest your foods, then what's going to happen? You're going to have other issues. So it's just a whole rabbit hole of things.
Yes.
Professionals like you and I are here to help people to understand what's going on and give them other options to heal their body and really take focus deep.
Yeah. I wanna like, I'm like, "Yes." Everything Kate said, yes, I love it. And, you mentioned genetic, and I want to point out that so many people, if they're experiencing things or have autoimmune issues, they think, "Oh, it's genetic, so that's how it is." But guys, genetics play only so much of the part. There's epigenetics, which means you can alter your DNA, you can change it. The way I like to explain it and even look at it for myself is I know what I'm genetically susceptible to because of family history, right? I know where my genetics would lead me if I let myself go and don't try. If I don't actively work on my health every single day, that's the direction that my genes are going to go down. Like that's the path that's like preset to. But I can change that if I work hard. So it's like knowing your genetics or your family history, consider that a blessing because that's what you have to work against. Like, I like to think of it as like a challenge. Like, "Oh, okay, I'm destined for autoimmune disease. Like, that's not going to happen to me. Like, I'm going to work hard to not go down that path." And so, if you know your genetic destiny in a sense, if you know you've got these gene mutations or a family history, okay, that's awesome. Like, use that in a positive manner and work harder to not go down that path, and it's totally possible.
What I would definitely say to that is food, of course, needs to play a role there, but the
Yes.
thing that can help change that trajectory is your stress management as well. Huge.
Yes.
Stress is huge because when we're stressed and our body is in that fight or flight mode constantly, then our parasympathetic nervous system can never kick in. And so we're never resting and digesting. That also causes that chronic inflammation because your body is constantly going and you're not giving your body the time to regenerate itself. Important. And then stress management, but also quality sleep. So our body goes through at different hours of the day, different regenerative processes so that it can heal itself. Like,
Yeah.
especially during the night, your body starts to get itself ready to regenerate. So if you're not giving your body that time to regenerate, then you're not well. So
Right.
those are the three things: your nutrition, your stress management, and your quality sleep that can really help set the trajectory in a different direction if you do have genetic issues. Even if you don't, but if you do, those things really should be focused on.
And I think especially for women, we do need more sleep than men, just biologically. That's what our bodies demand. But I know that you're a big fan of like detox and things as well. Whenever we sleep, that's whenever our glymphatic system, like our brain's detox system, actually turns on. And especially if you're thinking about the gut brain connection, these connections with Alzheimer's, ADD, like all of these cognitive issues. Okay, sleep is helping our brain like detox all these things, reset, recharge. And if you really go back to it and think about it, especially women, like God did not make our bodies to be going a million miles an hour like we do these days. Like we need to sit down
We need
and
to have to set our boundaries. We need to realize that we can't feel guilty about putting ourselves first because there's a
right.
reason why on the airplane, when they come over the loudspeaker and say, put your oxygen mask on before you help somebody else, because if you don't have oxygen, you can't be there for somebody else.
Yep.
So you need to take care of yourself so you can be present the way that you want to be for everybody else in your life. And as women, we're naturally nurturers, right? And a lot of us are in that sandwich generation where we're taking care of our children and we have elderly parents that we're trying to take care of. So here we are in the middle of that and we're trying to balance it the best we can. And then what happens? Our own sickness might come to the forefront because we're not taking care of ourselves the way that we should be. 40% of caregivers die before the people that they're taking care of because they don't take care of themselves. So we need to keep that in mind and just really understand what it is that our body needs to be healthy.
Yes, I love that. Now, going back to like your own journey, Kate, I know that you suffered for so long and then being a mom of two younger kids at the time, was there ever like a pivotal moment where you realized, okay, like something's got to change with my health?
Yeah, and that was when I was on and off the antibiotics for 3 years. Um, I just felt like I wasn't getting better. I felt like my body was depending on the medication, and in my head, I'm saying, "All right, am I gonna have to be on this medication for my whole life in order for me to feel better?" So that was really the pivotal moment for me. Now, what I had to do to get better was a trial and correction over 4 years, just about. But I realized that, fasting played a big role for me in my healing. So I didn't really pick up on or learn about fasting until I was probably 2 years into my healing journey. I was off the medication. I was feeling good, but I still wasn't there yet. I could still tell that something wasn't right. So I continued my research and I came across intermittent fasting or timed eating. And I said, you know what? I'm going to try this. So that was probably about, I want to say 2.5 years ago, maybe, and maybe longer than that. And I started slow and then I worked my way up. And now I'm doing it regularly. I fast 19 hours, I eat 5. So that has worked for me like a charm. And that's a big fasting period. I don't recommend that for everyone. And it's not for everyone because health is not a one size fits all. That's another reason why you really need to understand what's going on with yourself. But for me, fasting really helped to enhance my healing. That was the pivotal time for me when I went off the antibiotics and I said, I have to do this on my own. I know there's a healthy being in there somewhere and I'm going to find her. And I did. And my body responded very well.
I
So,
love
but I
that.
just want to mention quickly too that transition for women into menopause. Right now, I'm truly focusing with my clients on gut health, mental fitness, and menopause support. And a lot of people say, what's the connection? How is it that you're all of those things to someone? So, what I like to say is gut health is health, right? If you don't have your gut health, then you really aren't healthy. And
Mhm.
then the mental fitness, because of the gut brain connection and the anxiety that can be caused because of an unhealthy gut, the depression that can be caused, and just the cognitive function of being scattered or brain fog, like you mentioned. If we are mentally fit, then we really are strong enough to deal with whatever situation is coming our way. And we need to find the gift and opportunity in any real worst case scenario. So when you're mentally fit, you're able to take on that stress. And then menopause, because if you have gut health and you're mentally fit, you really can handle the transition into menopause with ease. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying that you're not going to experience any symptoms, but you're really going to be able to make those health choices for yourself with clarity. So those are the 3 things that I recommend for women, especially going into perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause. You really need to treat your body well in those transition years so that when you're on the other side, your body really will treat you in kind. It's so important.
Yeah, and I'm assuming too, like with your clients, I imagine you're explaining to them, just educating them on what happens to your body during menopause and how to be confident in that transition, which I'm like, that's wonderful because just as somebody who's in her 30s, I'm like, I'm preparing my body now for the future, which includes menopause one day. Like, they don't really teach you, even as a student in school, like what happens during menopause or a woman's cycle. Like, what happens to a female's body? It is so complex. There's a lot to it. So it's hard to just teach somebody. As females, as moms, as people who are taking care of all these other people, we want to take care of ourselves first, like you mentioned, but understanding the changes our body is going to go through and being confident in that and prepared for that is, I think that is so important. I love that.
It is. And you're right. We aren't taught anything about this. And some clients I talk to, and I'll say, okay, I know there's HRT is out there and they don't know what HRT is. They don't know what hormone replacement therapy is because nobody has ever spoken to them about it and what the benefits or the risks are. And the fact that you're losing estrogen and progesterone and your testosterone is in the tank and you're not feeling incredibly sexually active at the moment or your libido is low. Why is that? Why am I experiencing these things? And people just don't know. Women just don't know. I love to talk to them about it because knowledge is power. And when you have that knowledge and you're able to make those decisions, that anxiety level does go down. And
Yeah.
you're able to, like I said, make those decisions with clarity. And I just gave a menopause webinar on Wednesday and really just try to educate as best as I could because there's not a lot of material out there for women to understand. Or better yet, I should say, there's so much out there. Um,
Yeah, it's hard to condense.
oh, right. They don't know where to go with it.
Yeah.
Really try hard to explain it, link it to their health and really put it into terms that they can truly understand and relate to as women. Perimenopause can start as early as in your 30s, going into your 40s. And there's a whole host of symptoms that go along with that. But menopause is the day, it's only one day that you are 1 year of period free. So when you don't have your period for a year, that day is menopause. And then the very next day is postmenopause. The experiences with hot flashes and joint pain and weight gain and all of these things will have to do with your hormone levels. So it's really
Yeah.
important to be tested, know where your hormone levels are. So this way you know what it is that your body is going through at the moment.
Ultimately, it's ladies, just know what's going on in your body. There's a reason why, whether it's like your premenopause, going through menopause, or like gut issues. Listen to what your body's saying because it's important to hear it and know what you're experiencing so that you can direct it in the right direction. And I would love to ask you, Kate, so what would you tell listeners as far as like living this healthy, sustainable, gut healthy lifestyle for women who are just busy? What are some tips for finding balance and finding time for yourself? What do you tell people?
So, right off the bat, the first thing that comes to my mind is just to say everybody is different. So, when we're trying to find balance for someone in particular, we need to really look at their lifestyle as a whole and find out, okay, what's realistic for you?
Yeah.
And what is going to come into what small shifts can you make in your life that isn't going to feel like you're changing your entire life or you're changing your children's life? So we start with something very small, and it might be something as easy as let's take an hour on a Sunday and meal prep. Let's just put together some snacks that you can throw in your refrigerator. So this way, when you are on the go with your kids or you're running to work or whatever, you have something that's fresh, not ultra processed, that you know you made in the refrigerator that you can grab and eat in the car if you need to. So that's one place that I really like to start with women. Also, to be organized in a small little way. So, one way to that I like to talk about is organize your refrigerator because too many times with throwing things in there, there's expired things in the front, there's fresh things in the back. We don't know what's going on with it. You open your refrigerator, and when you see that mess that's in there, your mind, right, you automatically get overwhelmed because it's too much. Trying to stay organized can really help as well. To find that time for yourself if you're a busy mom and you have young kids and it's possible to put them to bed 10 minutes earlier at night so that you can just start to prepare your body for sleep, I would say start there if that's possible for you. Some women, it might not be possible for. Some women may get their 10 minutes maybe when the kids go to school in the morning before they go to work, or maybe they get up 10 minutes earlier so that they can have that time for themselves. It really depends on what your lifestyle is like. And it's challenging, but it can be done. We just have to speak together, really understand what your life looks like, and then we'll find those moments. And I'm here to support whatever effort you want to make your life better.
I love those tips. I love all that. I agree. I'm wondering, Kate, what is one thing that you wish that everyone knew about gut health? It's a
Um,
loaded question.
It is. There's so much, but the one thing that I wish I could scream from the rooftops is like what I said before. If you don't have gut health, you don't have health. Get tested. There's, like I said before, there's numerous amounts of testing out there. There are at-home tests that you can do. There's tests that you can do at home. There's functional doctors. There's integrative doctors out there that will listen to you and do these tests for you. Not every doctor will, and some of them don't believe that the gut is the base of health. So find yourself a doctor that does have that belief, but just understand what's going on with your gut. Get tested, know whether or not you have an imbalance, and know what foods you're allergic to or intolerant to. I would say that's probably the most important thing because even if you're not feeling like something is wrong, you could still have an intolerance. A lot of times we don't realize that we're not feeling good, like what you said, because we've been not feeling good for such a long time. We think it's normal.
I know.
And just know what's going on. Just get tested. I would say that's the biggest thing. Just when you go for your yearly workup, ask your practitioner if they can include a food intolerant panel with your blood work.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Is there anything else that you want to leave our listeners with today, Kate?
So basically, just understanding that it really is important to listen to your body and understand what's going on and be your own advocate. That's the
Yes.
biggest thing for me because we can't walk into our doctor's office and expect them to be the expert on ourselves. And I know we spoke about that briefly, but to really just, there's tips and techniques out there that can help you hone in on what it is that your body is telling you and just be your
Yeah.
expert, be your own advocate.
Yeah, I love it. And Kate, I know we can find you on Instagram and I will drop your handle in the show notes.
And I'm also on Facebook, KCL Wellness. So yeah, I would love to just spread the word to people. And thank you for having me here today because it really is an important topic. I'm very happy that you found your path as well. So it is possible. I want to leave a message of hope with your listeners that if you're struggling with weight, if you're struggling with cognitive issues, there's a way out, right? There's a way to really reduce those symptoms and start to feel better. Once you start to feel better, your motivation really kicks in to dig even deeper and find your path to wellness.
Yes, absolutely. This has been amazing, Kate. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for being a part of my journey on What the Gut podcast. For a deeper dive into today's topics, head over to allisonandwellness.com/whatthegut or find the detailed show notes linked below. Hey, and don't miss out on future episodes. Hit that subscribe button, and if you love this one, please leave me a review. Let's keep the conversation going over on Instagram. Connect with me and stay updated and engaged with my awesome community. Plus, share these valuable insights with your tribe. They deserve to feel as amazing as you do. You can find me at Allison_and_wellness on Instagram. Your support means the world to me. I'm looking forward to our next awesome chat. But until then, stay curious, don't drink too much coffee, keep the vibrant energy flowing, and take care of your gut. Catch you real soon. Oh, and hey, if you're ready to dive deeper into personalized wellness, check out my one-on-one health coaching program at allisonandwellness.com. Let's make your journey to holistic health truly transformative.